What's going on, people, and welcome to Man Knows Football. I was wondering why that was a bit dark. I didn't have that light on. There we go. What's going on, people, and welcome to Man Knows Football. You are here with Guni, and I have a special guest, Liverpool fan here, Don Husam. How are you doing, my bro?
I'm good. I'm good. Listen, thanks for having me. As always, big up to you, big up to everyone in the comment section as well. Make sure you like the video, make sure you subscribe to the channel as well. I'm here to talk football, man. As always, as always. Can't say I'm the happiest right now with our window, but we'll get into it. We'll get into it.
I hear you. I hear you. Because I have been following you about on your channel as well. If you want to subscribe to his channel, make sure you check out the description down there. All clickable links. I've done all the hard work for you people as usual. But I hear what you're saying, man, because obviously after the season that's just gone in the manner you were so close again to winning the Prem, but Manchester City were able to keep up that consistency. But you see, the problem is that every single team, even yourself, face is that Manchester City are just relentless. You know, on top of that, they've said, look, Liverpool are too close to us. We're going to get Erling Haaland. And then they've just signed Kalvin Phillips for depth in that defensive mid position. And it looks like they're about to sign Cucurella. So they mean absolute business. But in terms of Liverpool, you lot haven't been quiet in the transfer window as opposed to us. We've only had one outgoing, but that is good enough for me. I'm happy to see him out the door. Not gonna lie to you, Lukaku gone, but you lot have brought in Darwin Nunez. Let's just start off with your feelings about the signing of Darwin Nunez and whether you think he's gonna be a success there at Liverpool.
Um, Once again, look, I know I spoke to you off camera about this. I get called negative and stuff. Me personally, Darwin Nunez, I'm not that excited about him. I really am not. Like, I had other preferences. If you would have asked me, I would have gone maybe for Nkunku, someone like Lautaro Martinez. I think would have probably suited us more. Someone who is like all inclusive, can pass, can shoot, can do everything on the football pitch. I think with Darwin Nunez, there's obvious deficiencies in his game. Let's just say it that way. The passing isn't the best. The other stuff maybe around the goal scoring. Yes, he's clinical. So that's of course a bonus. He's a very clinical finisher, but the stuff around that, there's question marks. The statistics back it as well. The eye test backs it. He's not the best of passers, first touch, etc. So he isn't really the complete footballer. But I do know he is a clinical goal scorer, so he will score goals for us. It's just a question of volume. I think he actually is the Sadio Mane replacement. A lot of people seem to think it's Diaz who replaces him. I think Nunez is the Mane replacement. Me personally, I would have preferred someone else, but it is what it is. That's who we sign. And look, no complaints. Let's see what happens. Whether I'm right or wrong. Usually I'm right, but we shall
Let's see. Yeah, no, I
during
mean,
the season.
with Darwin Nunez, that is an interesting one because on first look, I was very impressed with him, and I really was able to see what he was made of. I know it's only 2 games, but against Liverpool, I mean, decent game to have a test against the best opposition in the world, and I thought he definitely passed the test. Very, very good finish in that game. But then as I went on to really take a look at the player and then delve into statistics, in fact, a lot of it came from some of the videos that you did because you actually go and you look at the stats and you're very you're very well researched. You know what I'm saying? But I came to the conclusion of this though. Do I think he is an elite level striker or even the price? Do I think it's worth it? Absolutely not. Does he have the potential to get there? Maybe. But my thing is if he was to come to a team like a Chelsea, for example, I think he would suffer massively there. I don't think it would be much of a difference between Lukaku and him in terms of success rate there. But because of the way you lot play football, you lot are so good on a transition, and you've got other players who are very comfortable carrying the ball. We're going to come onto your midfield in a minute because I feel you're getting a bit light in this area. But in terms of creation right now, I'd say your best is Thiago. Outside of that, you still need to add some more. But you've certainly got the right players there to help him play, especially if he's going to be facing the goal a lot more, where you're not going to focus too much on the technicals in that. You just want him to get the ball in a dangerous position and have a go and put it in the back of the net. So I think he's going to do well for you guys, but I want to kind of go a bit further back in the pitch, so around like the midfield area, because you have expressed some concerns about that. And I can honestly see where you're coming from, just really trying to look from outside of the box in terms of depth. Now, is this an area, it's a stupid question, I don't even know why I'm asking you, but obviously it's an area you feel that needs to be addressed. But what kind of targets would you be going for?
Ah, Lord. You know, this midfield thing is generally the most frustrating thing of all time. And, you know, like last summer they told us it was going to be next summer. Now it's next summer again. I feel like we're just messing around a bit too much. I'm gonna be real with you. I think we definitely need a midfielder. And you know, people are talking about profiles, type of midfielders. I could throw out 100 different names. I could say Paqueta to play in the 10, Barella. I can bring out 50 different people. Nunez from Sporting Lisbon, Vitinha before he made his move. There's many midfielders in world football who can improve us. The problem is it's reported that we won't be buying one, and that's maybe where the frustration lies, because we have a whole lot of quantity in that midfield, but not a whole lot of quality. And this season as well, every time we've dropped points, whether it's we've drawn a game, we've lost a game during the season, it's always been the midfield. You know, we've not been able to control games. We've not been able to keep the football properly. The Brighton game, the Brentford game, West Ham, you know, the Leicester game. Even if you look at the game we had against you guys at Stamford Bridge, Milner and Henderson, just all over the place, running around like headless chickens, absolutely just unaware of anything around them. And we're 2-0 up, and boom, Chelsea just equalized. And those are the things, like we keep saying, and this is where my frustration lies. Liverpool fans and different fans keep saying, "Oh, you know, fine margins, fine margins." It's not a coincidence that we're a nearly team, because when you look at our transfer window, we're also a nearly team in the transfer window. We never fully address the stuff that needs to be addressed. We always go one position short, one place short. And I could take this back for the last 4 or 5 years. This is the same thing we've been experiencing. Dejan Lovren left. We didn't get a centre-back replacement. Boom. Centre-back crisis. We don't win the league. Last summer, we needed a midfielder. We don't buy a midfielder. Once again, we lose the league by a point. It's like, you know, I've said this on my channel. I know you've seen it as well. Probably seen it on Terry's channel. I said the same analogy. It's almost like you want me to create the perfect chocolate cake, but every single time you're taking away an ingredient. Like you're like, oh, I'm gonna listen. Here you go. Make me the best chocolate cake. This summer, I'm not gonna give you chocolate. Next summer, I'm not giving you flour. The summer after that, I'm not gonna give you eggs. The summer after that, I'm not gonna give you an oven. Just use a lighter to make the cake. Like every single time, it's something that's missing, and that's why we keep falling short. And if you want specific names, me personally, first of all, let me just say this. Yeah, there's still people running with these weird narratives that Liverpool Football Club don't have money. Liverpool Football Club are swimming in money. We're swimming in money right now. We've just made the most commercial revenue we've ever made our whole life. We are swimming in hundreds of millions of pounds. Any player in world football we want to get, we can get. There's a reason why, listen, whether it happened or not, that's not the point. Mbappe came out and said his mom wanted Liverpool and stuff. So there's clearly been contact there. So obviously money isn't an issue. When you look at the other side as well, Chouameni, we were linked to him as well. 100 million pound, 80 million, 60 million, whatever it is. So we do have money. We can buy anyone who wants in world football. We're just choosing not to. And that's the frustrating part. I don't need another 38 games of Jordan Henderson back post crosses for me to go like, ooh, he's not a good midfielder. I don't need another season of James Milner just running around tackling people. I don't need another season to tell me that Thiago is going to get injured. You know, my viewers, I always tell them, take pen and paper. Write down on the paper, Thiago will not be fit all season. Just write it down like 10 times on the page and keep reading it to yourself. Like we've had enough evidence, but the club are not moving. And once again, we're going to finish second. So it's frustrating, man. It's frustrating.
I mean, there were links with Jude Bellingham, and I've got a good mate who's a Liverpool fan, and he was getting sucked in a little bit into that. But I was saying to him, look, Dortmund have just sold Erling Haaland, and Bellingham's come out and said that he's happy to stay. And I said, even if Liverpool were to offer over the odds, Dortmund probably won't take it. And he was like, no, why do you say that? Money talks. I said, you know why? We was in a similar situation last summer when we was trying to get Erling Haaland. I think the tops that we offered was like 130 M's. That was the rumored tops that we offered. He goes this season for, what is it, like 70 million euros or something like that? So Dortmund, listen, when they want to play hardball, they don't care about figures. If they say a player is staying, a player is staying. And you know what? I have to respect Dortmund for that. I think in terms of, because they know what they are, but at the same time, they do not let the big clubs let the players leave on the big clubs' terms. It's always on their terms. And their scouting is that good that once that player's gone, another one is most probably in the club already or has been identified and the terms have been agreed. They operate like a proper club then. But
they sold Haaland and bought Adeyemi immediately.
You see, so. Exactly. That's what you call smart business, because you know in about 2 or 3 years he's going for at least double the price tag that they bought. I don't even know how much they paid for Adeyemi. Do you know the price tag?
I don't think they paid much. I think 50 million or under probably.
You see that, and look, he's got the ability to get to a point where he could possibly go for 75, 80. That's still good profit. Whether he goes for 100 or north of that, I don't know. I don't know, because now we're talking about a different level of talent there. But outside, I know you've said there's not a particular midfielder that you would like to see at the club. There's several that would improve you, but surely there's some that realistically are attainable and that you would like to see Liverpool at least try and make a bid for.
I think here's the thing. I'm just trying to find out the actual Adeyemi price tag. It's kind of bugging me that I don't know. But anyway, I digress. I was just trying to Google shit, what's his price tag? Because I bet it's under 40. But anyway, I digress. I think with the midfield, I'm gonna be real with you. If you were to tell me, okay, Husam, you can get one midfielder in world football tomorrow, I'm getting Barella. Barella is better than Jude Bellingham for me. I think Fabinho, Thiago, and Barella would be a midfield that would genuinely reach unstoppable levels.
Husam, let me tell you something.
Yes.
You see, Barella, before Barella made the move to Inter Milan, we had Conte. Conte was on his knees to that board saying, bring this guy to Chelsea Football Club. And I was waving that flag. I wish I had the YouTube channel then. I was like, please bring this guy. He is such a quality player. So I'm glad that you said him. But apparently, Inter do need to sell players. They do need to sell players.
And that kind of helps my case as well, because I've been telling the people are going oh, Italian players don't like to leave Italy, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, do you guys understand that Inter Milan are on their knees begging for money? They need money so badly right now that if you're John Henry, your club, you call up Inter Milan, you slap 80 M's on the table, 90 M's. He's going to be wearing that Liverpool shirt so fast after that phone call. It's going to be over. It's going to be over. And even with Thiago's injury problems, look, our best run in the league last season, in those last 3 months, where we were just kind of unstoppable these last 3-4 months, Thiago played most of those games. So you had the midfield of Fabinho, Thiago, and whoever. So because Fabinho and Thiago were both there, we were able to go on that run. Now the issue is Thiago, it's never about will he stay fit. It's always about when's he going to get injured. We know for a fact he's going to get injured. We've already had evidence in the last 3-4. By the way, if even we go look at Thiago Alcantara's career, he's never been the guy that's fit all season anyway, since his Barcelona days.
That's why I didn't mind getting rid of him, Barca.
100%. He's never been that guy who's going to play 38 league games. So I feel even in that run, it was Fabinho, Thiago, and whoever, and we felt confident because it was Fabinho and Thiago, and whoever the third guy was, no one really cared. Now, if you include Barella in that, you could have another sort of situation of you could play Fabinho, Barella, and have a third guy out there when Thiago's injured. Now, that makes a massive difference to us. And the one thing that's so frustrating, there is not one logical reason as to why Liverpool Football Club are not going to sign midfielders. There's zero logic. There's zero footballing reasons. And I've been I told Guni about this off camera. I've been attacked by my own fan base. And as soon as the season finished, I spoke to all my friends. I'm like, you have no idea how much of a heel turn I'm about to make. And they just thought I was joking, but I wasn't joking. And now, after City signed Kalvin Phillips for 42 million, I shit you not, I'm getting DMs. Husam, you were right. This is a joke. We should be signing these midfielders. Because even if the excuse was money, Guni, 42 million, Kalvin Phillips, less than 30 million, Yves Bissouma, less than 30 million, Yuri Tielemans. You could literally find solutions from the same league. I don't even need to go elsewhere. From our own league, we get
this summer window, right, is almost unprecedented. The deals that are available is just absolutely ridiculous. For me, when I saw Bissouma go to Spurs for that little money, the first clubs I thought, because Chelsea, we have our target. Everyone knows that we're hell-bent on this Declan Rice situation. And for me, whether it's down to our detriment, I think Chelsea are going to wait for him if we have to wait until next summer, which I'm not a fan of that. But I think Liverpool should be kicking themselves. Arsenal definitely should be kicking themselves, because just purely based on the fact that if any one of those two clubs had made an offer, Bissouma's going right there without even thinking twice. And Liverpool being the top of that pile, because you can also guarantee in football. Because I don't see that being because obviously you've got your solid starters in Fabinho, you've got Thiago. Thiago more so a different player. Even Fabinho, a different player, a bit more versatile, I would say. But having him in that midfield, because you see with Bissouma, he's such a complete midfielder, man. And in the big games as well, he absolutely runs the show. Now, I think to some people, the big game theory is a bit of an illusion, because when you really look at it from a technical perspective, big teams, as a fact, they're not scared to go at you. They're trying to get the win, so they are going to leave spaces. And this is why players like that thrive. But with him, I think it's a bit more. But who's the brother that went to PSG? He's so like this.
Vitinha?
No. Idrissa
Gana Gueye?
Watch him in the big games. Yeah. He puts in like 7, 8, 9s out of 10s. Watch him against the basics, the low blocks and that, he's missing. But I think Bissouma, because as well, he's so technically good. He just fits. He's just an all-round player. I think like everyone should be kicking themselves that he's been allowed to go for 25 M's. But if you don't,
that price tag no one expected, I think.
Nobody did. No one did. Because
I don't think anyone would have, even with the stuff, we know there's stuff going on. We're not going to get into that. But even with that, no one expected for it to be that low of a price tag. I think it's been like, what, 25 million pounds?
That's it, yeah. 25.
That's a steal right there. That's a steal.
Yeah, it's an absolute steal. You know, when you've got, I mean, no disrespect to Arsenal, they've just paid how much for this Fabio Vieira guy, who I hear is a decent player, by the way. But when you're looking at the two, you would think on face value, Bissouma's going to go for way more than what he did. But it is what it is. But just going back to midfield, because I don't think Manchester City are done. I swear that, listen.
They're not.
the situation with Frankie de Jong and Manchester United, I think the reason why it's taken this long is not down to money, because you know United have got it. I think the player just don't want to go there. But watch this space. If Manchester City get rid of a midfielder or two, I have a feeling they're going to go in for him. I have a strong feeling.
This is the issue. This is the issue. It's like you're one step away, and instead of like trying to bridge that gap, you just don't. You kind of are not doing it. And this is where the frustration lies. And you know, let me tell you something even more, because I have taken an interest, of course, in Man City news, because they're like our direct rivals for the league, which, by the way, there will be no rivalry for the league. If Liverpool do not sign a midfielder, City are walking the league.
Yeah,
it's
pretty much. I said that.
100%. There's nothing. We're just going to finish second and go like, yeah, we competed again. I think the thing is as well, I've read somewhere that City, after Phillips, they want to sign Cucurella, and apparently there's news coming out that they're going to sign a winger that breaks the internet. Now, if that is true, I can only think of two wingers in world football that are going to break the internet. Number one, if they go sign Neymar, that breaks the internet right there. Number two, if some way, somehow, they put in a massive bid for Mo Salah and he moves to Manchester City, that's another scenario of them breaking the internet. That's that. Because if I ask you, name a winger that's gonna break the internet if he goes to City, go ahead, just try.
I think the two you've mentioned are the obvious ones, because when we're talking about realism, obviously Neymar is on the market, and then the situation with Salah, actually, we was going to talk about that in the stream. We definitely still are. But outside chance is this guy too. But
is he a winger though, Felix?
He can play out there. He can play out there. So it's most probably not him. And I don't think, you're right. I think he's got the potential to be an absolute elite superstar, especially with Pep, 100%. But in terms of like Now breaking
He's
signing,
on
no,
that
it
death
can't
row
be him.
contract at Atletico.
Well, yeah, exactly, bro. His agent, he should have sacked his agent for talking him into
Oh
that,
my
because
god.
that was just backwards. But it's got to be one of the two. And I think, because when you look at the teams that can afford Neymar and would actually make that move, it is actually Manchester City.
Because he's gonna ask for ginormous wages as well. That's another thing.
Oh, he's
And
gonna
then
be
when
on.
you look at look, when you look at City, I feel like they're just doing their business. First of all, there's no rumors for 5 weeks. They just get the shit done immediately. The second thing is, like, they're actually replacing the people that leave them with more quality. Because when you think about it, Fernandinho, he's about 48 years old. He's played like, he's played like 5-6 games for City this season. You take him out, you put in Calvin Phillips, who and this is why it pains me in my heart. I've been bigging up this Calvin Phillips guy for the longest. I've been on Spaces saying Calvin Phillips is better than Declan Rice. I
Oh,
absolutely
wow.
love. Yes, sir. Listen, he's not called the Yorkshire Perlo for nothing. I love him. Like, I think he's absolutely incredible. They go get him for 42 million. They're about to sign Cucurella, and you're just sat there thinking like, okay, so our response, I'm talking about, and now you can include your club as well in it. Our response is just taking it slow or not making the complete signings. How are you expecting anyone but City to win the league? And I'm going to be the only Liverpool like content creator, even though my channel is for everyone. It's not just a Liverpool channel. I'm going to be the first guy and the only guy to come out and congratulate Manchester City on their title before it started. I'm conceding. If we don't sign a midfielder, I'm fully going to go live on YouTube and concede the league title, because I refuse to fall into the trap again. What's the point if you know the ending to the movie? I said this yesterday on a stream. We've all played Call of Duty. We've all played campaign mode. We already know the ending. I'm
Yeah.
sure he played Modern Warfare 2. I know what Makarov's going to do. I already know what's going to happen. But, next time, maybe when I play it, I try to play veteran difficulty to make it a bit more interesting. Maybe, I try to get the trophies on PSN where I like collect the collectibles. Just do something a little bit different. But we're kind of just doing the same shit over and over. This time we're not going to get a midfielder. Last time we didn't get a defender. The time before that we didn't get a winger. And we just keep messing around. Like, it's always like, oh, every single time it's a step too short. And then we wonder, why do we finish second? It's because we're second in this transfer window.
Yeah,
It's just
that's
how
it.
it goes.
That's it. No, it's exactly that. It's frustrating as well, because we've been in a similar situation many times. Like, for example, back when we won the Champions League, that's the time when you strengthen. What were we given? You get me? It's happened several times after winning leagues. We're just not building on it like the way we should be, the way Manchester City are doing it. Do you know what I mean? The way Manchester United in the 90s used to do it, and them teams there, we're not doing it like that. But I just wanted to touch on this before we speak about Mo Salah. Um, Big up yourself, Nicole. Don't you think Neymar and Pep can mix together? No way. Well, there's several things that I'll say about this. Is if you're worried about a high-profile ego, Pep Guardiola came from a very elite Barcelona team, moved from that team, went to a treble-winning Bayern Munich team, left there, has gone to Manchester City. He has dealt with high profiles all his life. And this is why I say to people, when they say, why doesn't Pep go to a Stoke and prove that he's the best manager in the world there? No, being specifically elite is a skill within itself, because you have seen time and time again, yeah, and this is one small example in it. Managers going and just being overwhelmed by high profile personalities and therefore just being shifted out of the club. You've seen it time and time again. With Pep Guardiola, a respect like that is hard to find, and it's worth its own weight in gold, right? So this is why it's a different situation when you're coming to players like Neymar, right? And in terms of, do they need him, right? Man City, yeah, you're talking about a team that can afford to sign luxury players because they have everything patterned in every position at a high level. Or if they haven't, you best believe that they're going to sort it out 100%. So these
Don't
kind
you think Pep will turn Neymar into a robot, though?
say, do you think you'll turn him into a robot? I don't think he can.
Exactly what happened with
Impossible.
Grealish. Like, you can
Impossible.
only occupy this space. You can only do this. You can
Impossible.
only do that.
Impossible. I think Pep understands, as most of us do, like, there are players in this world that are just mavericks, and you just have to let them do what they're doing. You do. I understand that Pep has a system that you must respect 100%, but he's going to give him more freedom than usual because that's Neymar. Neymar is not a, obviously he gets the foundations right, but in his game, it's just flair. There's some players where you see flair sporadically.
If I say my opinion on Neymar, no one's going to like it. I'm going to be real. But I've said that plenty of times on spaces. People have DM'd me like,
you're not a fan of Neymar.
Listen, there's a debate happening on Twitter, and I'm no bullshit. I was the one who started it. There's literally been a Neymar Salah debate because of my space. I did a space of Neymar versus Mo Salah, and everyone just went wild with it, and they've been like tweeting about it for the last 48 hours. Me personally, listen, hard work will beat talent when talent doesn't work hard. It's as simple as that.
I agree.
Because for me, Neymar, if you're telling me career, I have nothing bad to say about him. If you're telling me as a footballer, nothing bad to say about him. Now, if we're discussing the time frame of PSG, no one can tell me he hasn't underachieved. He's underachieved massively. And there's this false premise with a lot of people that think, oh, when Neymar plays, he actually does well. It's only when he's injured he doesn't play. I don't think it's just injuries, because even when he's played, he hasn't played incredible all the time. And I wouldn't take him over a lot of midfielders. Is it crazy to say pound for pound when you consider price tag? Raheem Sterling to Manchester City has been a better transfer than Neymar to PSG.
If you're talking about pound for pound Sterling, 100%. That's a double pun there. Do you know what I mean? Flipping out. But when it's talking,
should that have ever been a discussion with Neymar's talent level? That should have never been a discussion.
No, I agree with you. When you're talking money wise and the finances involved, that is not a successful signing. Because now when you're talking north of 200 million, yeah, and then on top of that, a wage pack of, I believe, is probably 500,000 a week basic, and then on top of your add-ons, etc., you've got to have a Champions League or two, because League On becomes a formality when you've got a team like that, and that's not a disrespect to the rest of the league. You've got the finance, you've got a country backing your club. How is that fair? So that's something that's a given. But that Champions League, they have massively, I have to agree, they've massively underachieved there, 100%. But Nippon has a question for you. Big up, Nippon. Question for Husam. Would you ever collaborate with Lee Gunner?
Absolutely. I'm always open to collaborations, never say no to anyone. I've already worked with Lee Gunner actually once on the terrace. And he followed me on Twitter and we spoke about doing a show together. But then, as always, because Lee Gunner is a toxic man, his Twitter got banned. And
now he's just wallowing in the mud, man.
I'm seeing his stories on Instagram. I'd love to do one, Nippon. I would love to, and I love working with different people on YouTube. It's always fun, man.
It is. No, 100% it is. But that whole situation with Manchester City, it is a bit concerning. But Mo Salah, this situation here, I haven't really spoken about it on my channel because I refuse to believe up until this point that Liverpool were really going to let it run to this point. I thought it was going to be a poker face situation and both parties were going to come to agreement. Then I started to learn small little things that gave me red flags. And the first one starts with his agent. I hear his agent is a serious problem. Like in his general behavior. Like the way he's disrespectful to Liverpool Football Club, etc., etc. Do you think he is the main protagonist of all of this?
Nope. The main protagonist is Liverpool Football Club in all of this.
Okay.
Because the conversation should be very simple. Mo Salah, you want to sign an extension? Yes, I do. How much money do you want? Here you go. Sign it. Boom. It should have been a very, very simple discussion. There should be nothing to talk about. There should be no conversations. There should be, nothing crazy to talk about. If you're Mo Salah, with everything that you've done, you have got to get that contract extension, and you've got to get every single cent. And the frustrating bit is, there's a reason. Guni is very smart, because there's like these two topics are the ones that kind of like it genuinely just emotionally drains me. I'm not even exaggerating. It's just one of those things that's just so frustrating. My brother, in a period of 5 years, 3 golden boots, 2 Premier League players of the season, countless individual awards, most goals most goals winning games in the Premier League. So much shit he's done for Liverpool Football Club. And this is where I get frustrated by people who are just in love with technique and nothing but technique. You cannot remove someone like Mo Salah and his output and replace him with someone like Rafinha because he dribbles nice and he passes nice, and you think that it's going to fix it. It won't fix it. Who's going to give you? Name me one winger in world football who can give you. Here's the fact. Mo Salah for the last 5 years has gotten 40 plus GA every single season. Every single season, all competitions.
Ridiculous.
40 plus GA. So now, if we remove that 40 plus GA, in order for us to win, because we're at a win now state, you're going to have to get someone who's going to get you 40 plus GA as well. Now, here's the two issues with that. Number one, Rafinha, Bowen, Anthony, no matter which winger, none of them are going to get you that. Number two, if you're going to go get a tier 1 player, guess what a tier 1 player wants? Tier 1 money. So they're going to ask you for Mo Salah level wages anyway. So you might as well sign it. And another thing I want to add, Guni, I swear you've triggered me. And another thing I want to add as well. People are talking about age. Let me explain something to the people. Ladies and gentlemen, this is no longer 2010, where if a player hits 30 years old, he's finished. Because there's sports science, there's people who take the sport seriously. Just deep this. Karim Benzema has completed football, had his best ever season, age 34. He's about to lift the Ballon d'Or. You know how old he is? 34. Robert Lewandowski had his best ever season, age 32, 33. That's his best ever season. So people think that, oh, Mo Salah's hitting 30. Oh, shit, when he gets to 32, he's going to be done. No, he won't be, because people are taking the sport seriously. That's why you have players now playing till they're 36, 37, 38. And because of Mo Salah's goal-scoring ability, he's still going to be getting you 20-plus goals minimum the next 3-4 years. So it's guaranteed. All you're going to have to do is just pay him properly. So there is no protagonist with the agent. It's not Mo Salah. It's not Klopp. It's the club. Pay him what he deserves, and let's just keep the party going, man. That's how I look at it. Because if we lose both Mane and Salah, and I will say this as well, and I know I spoke for so long, but I'll say it anyway.
That's okay.
If Mo Salah leaves this summer transfer window, the one we're in right now, we immediately become a top 4 team. Immediately we become a top 4 team.
I don't disagree at all.
Immediately, one transfer out, we become a top 4 team. People go like, don't trust Klopp. Yes, I trust Klopp. Yes, I trust the club. Yes, I trust the transfer committee. But certain people can't differentiate the two. The issue is, look at Luis Diaz as an example. He came in 6 months, 26 games, 6 goals. 6 goals. So by the time Luis Diaz develops into a 20-goal a season scorer, it's going to take him time. Give me 1 second.
No, it's cool. No, I completely hear what Husam's saying, but this is the dangers of not, building once you're winning. And now we've actually got a team who are financially able to do that and are consistently winning. It's a serious problem. So these transfer windows that we're seeing, they're getting more and more crucial for each of these top clubs that are hoping to eventually compete for the league. Because as of now, there's no chance. There's absolutely no. I don't see us winning any. Manchester City just done it with no striker, and they've just gone and signed one of the best strikers of this generation. yeah. Enough about City. Enough about City. They're gonna upset me. But with Mo Salah, what is he asking for? How much is it that he's actually asking the board for to stay?
There's 1,000 different reports, but the club are. That's why I told you the protagonist is the club. The club are offering him 230 grand a week. That's all they're offering him. 15% increase. 15% increase. And there's a guy who tweeted this. I'm like, you know how true that sounds. I don't want Jota and Diaz to be incredible. I just want them to be good. So 4 or 5 years from now, when it's extension time, we don't have to go through the same problem of us sitting there like, oh shit, he's an elite striker. We can't sign him on because of his wages. It's just an absolute joke. I think he's asking for something in the region of 350 grand a week, 300 grand a week, which I think he'll accept. The club are only offering 230 grand a week, which is a joke. So yeah, I think if there's one guy in that whole Liverpool squad that you're going to say, give him everything he deserves, it's him. Consistency, 5 years. Availability, 5 years. 0 problems off the pitch. No drama. Always played. Never complained. Like, come on, man. It's just a no-brainer for me. It's generally just a no-brainer. So
yeah, especially when you're looking at Mr. Timo Werner, who's on 280 British sterling pounds a week at Chelsea Football Club. Liverpool have zero excuse. They've got no excuse to make that happen. To not make
Timo Werner's agent needs to be swimming in the Bahamas somewhere. How the hell did Timo Werner get that much money? Like, Timo better be sending him on vacations, like, and just getting him all-inclusive trips somewhere. 280 grand, you know?
He's pulled. But you know what? Like, you know what? Me as a Chelsea fan, right? I've got to look at it for what it was. Off the record on what Timo Werner had scored and what he was doing over there at the Bundesliga, I could understand a 200k max. 280 for me was just extreme. And at the fact that I've always had the Bundesliga thing in the back of my mind as well, I knew this could go horribly left, which it did. But apparently, you know, he's just done good enough for there to be interest in him this summer. One of the clubs, actually, funny enough, being Liverpool as well. But before we move on, because listen, you're gonna get your redemption, don't you worry. We're gonna come on to Chelsea in a minute. I'm gonna give you 10-15 minutes to just say what you need to give your thoughts on Chelsea Football Club. But would you be happy seeing him at Chelsea?
Chelsea?
At Liverpool, sorry, not Chelsea. At Liverpool.
I would be absolutely happy seeing him at Chelsea, 100%, because I do not want him to keep him as far away from Liverpool Football Club as possible. Timo Werner, you know, imagine we play a front three of like Timo Werner, Nunez, and Jota. That would be the least tech, like, front three in football history. Like, you know, I'm a guy that loves my goals and assists, but at the same time, I love football as well. I don't hate football. You know, I'm trying to see people who pass the football, people who dribble. Absolutely not. I'm not trying to buy that road runner. So, you know, just send him to Juve. Leave me alone. Leave me alone. Yeah, I'm already upset as it is, Guni.
No, okay. All right. We're going to, for the last 10-15 minutes or so, let's just have a talk about Chelsea Football Club. When I say this club has been through a turmoil this season, bruv, I'm just happy that we are finally just in this transfer window, even though we haven't done any business yet. Are you worried about us kind of closing the gap by the end of this window with you guys? I'm not saying we're going to finish above you. I'm not even saying that. But do you think we're going to close the gap on you?
Absolutely not. I don't think you're going to close. Absolutely not. There's, like, with all due respect, there's absolutely nothing to worry about when it comes to Chelsea Football Club. With all due respect, I'm just being completely honest.
Even with the targets that you're seeing us linked with.
Who? Delay?
Well, I have my own thoughts about De Ligt, which is not exactly the most popular. But
Jules Koundé is gonna go Barcelona.
You've got Koundé, you got De Ligt. There was talk about Koulibaly, but that's died down. Jonathan Klaus looks likely as a backup to Reece James. Raheem Sterling.
Shaking in my boots.
Ousmane Dembele.
Ousmane Hospital.
And for that central position, it's not clear to me as to whether, you know, Tuchel is actually going to use Raheem Sterling as that false nine, or we're going to just keep it up with Kai, or it's going to be between the two of them. And even then, you're still going to need another option. But you honestly feel that and then, I forgot as well, this new ridiculous link with Cristiano Ronaldo, which I have no idea. Husam, can you please tell me how people are really taking this seriously and getting sucked in and actually thinking, honestly, please.
You know, there's only one club that are worse than us in this transfer window, and it's Chelsea. I promise you, like, that's the one club where, like, I speak to the fan base and they're even more upset than I am, which I didn't think was possible. But Chelsea fans are fully losing their shit right now, and rightfully so. Let me tell you from the outside looking in. From the outside looking in, Mendy, fantastic goalkeeper. When you look at that defense, Azpilicueta, Alonso, Rudiger, Christensen, all four of them, regardless whether you rate them or not, that's still depth that you need to replace. Azpilicueta, from the outside looking in, whether you're an opposition player, is still someone who can come in, and it's not like, oh, he's dog shit. Same with Alonso, they're good players. They're not fantastic, they're just good. Now, The issue with that is now you've only got Thiago Silva, you've got Shalobah as well. So you're going to have to buy 2 centre backs. So that's a problem right there. You know, you're going to have to get depth on the wings for right wing back, left wing back. When you look at midfield, Kante regressing, Jorginho regressing. Kante and Jorginho both divide the fan base. Kovacic is your best midfielder. He's injury prone. You look at the frontline players, not one of them can score a goal to save their lives. Mr. the LeBron James of soccer, just, you know, makes my eyes bleed every time I watch him. Kai Havertz, you know, I think he's a future Ballon d'Or winner, but at this moment in time, he's just another guy. Like, you've basically spent 90 million on Divock Origi right now. When he wins the Ballon d'Or, we'll speak, but at this point in time, he's just a guy who scores clutch goals. So Chelsea are actually in bigger trouble than a lot of people realize. I fully think Chelsea, for me personally, from the outside looking in, should have been hands down the most active team in this transfer window, because they needed a lot. People are talking about rebuild this, rebuild that. Chelsea need a rebuild. Chelsea literally just need a rebuild. And you know, I'm sure you've pointed it out on this channel. You've spoken about this 100 times. You know, there's players from the Sarri team, from the Conte team, from this guy's team.
It's a whole cocktail, mate. It's a whole cocktail.
And the cocktail just doesn't blend well. Like,
and then on top of that, we've got useless scouts. Scott McLachlan, Ross fucking Turnbull. Sorry, you see me getting upset when I say these names. Bruv, we have absolute joke, man, at this club, 100%. Especially when it comes down to recruitment. And I'm even sure you've seen, and listen, people, the reason why I'm speaking to Husam about this is because I actually respect his like footballing opinion. I can take the fan hat off and listen objectively to fair criticism, right? It's my guy's opinion. I want to hear it. We're going to have a discussion about it. But I feel a lot of what you're saying, although, because obviously, naturally, I'm more invested in Chelsea, so I know probably a bit more than what you do through my research, which is why I'm perhaps not as worried as a lot of fans in terms of replacing the players and, you know, the changes in the backroom staff. But no, I feel you, man, and I have been very worried. And you know, I know you're not Declan Rice's biggest fan. I quite like him. I quite like him. I'm not one that says, oh my gosh, he's a world-class midfielder. I've never once said that. I think he's very good at what he does, and especially in this Chelsea team, I think that is one of the biggest things in this team that we're missing. An actual natural defensive midfielder. We had the opportunity to have Tchouaméni for 25 M's, for goodness sake, last summer. This is an example of the joke thing that's going on behind the scenes, bruv. But because we don't get him, for me, he's a must. Now, here's what people also have to understand as well, because I've never really voiced this opinion. If it's not Declan Rice, but if you just put somebody who is foundationally sound, very, like, just does the role basically very, very well, yeah, that still for me is a huge improvement. But my reason for me, for Declan Rice is the fact, the history he's had with the club, the quote-unquote chemistry that he's already got there at the club, and his willingness to perform. Those are things that you can't find much in other players. So that's why I think outside of Tchouaméni, he's best suited for the job. But I hear what you're saying, but I've been saying to other rival fans, don't sleep on us this window, because we are doing a lot of catch-up. Remember, we're healing from the whole situation with the sanctions. You know, we've lost players as a result of this. Those were unforeseen losses. But now we're starting to be active in the window. We've had to play catch up, sort one or two things out. Marina's gone, Bruce Buck is out. So there's a lot that's happened. But I do think that by the end of this window, we're going to have a better squad than we did last season. And I know I'm talking as well, but like,
how's that possible though? How?
With the replacements,
you've lost a lot of players. That's the problem.
But for example, right? Reece James, we know, injury prone, but it's key to how we play. The drop-off from Reece James to Azpilicueta is massive. It's not good enough. The drop-off from Reece James to a Jonathan Klaus, for example, that isn't too bad. Now, obviously, I get it. There's the whole uncertainty. He's not played in the Prem. He's still got to learn this, that, and the other. But just on the face of the quality that we're replacing some of these players with, I think it does make it a stronger team. Now, whether they gel immediately and we see the results straight away, That's where I can agree with you. That's a different question altogether. But
let me ask you a question.
Go on.
And it's the same question that you asked me. Now you're telling me, am I worried? I'm not worried. I know we're just gonna finish second. Just do the same old shit. You're gonna finish second, go like, oh, we competed. Forget us. Now I wanna ask you a question. Are you not worried about Spurs and Arsenal?
Oh,
because me personally, I'm saying Spurs finish above you 100%. Now I'm just looking at that fourth spot. You and Arsenal. Are you not worried with the business they're doing?
No, with Arsenal, I'm not. I'm keeping. Listen, I've got my side eye on them, but I'm not worried about them. But with Tottenham, however, that's where I'm concerned. If we do not get our business done, if we don't get our business done, I'm worried. And this is the thing. People are saying long-term wise, this, that, and the other. No. Levy's actually shown this window that he's going to be backing Antonio Conte, and that's what he's wanted at several clubs. This is the reason why he left Chelsea, even Inter Milan, because he wasn't getting what he wanted. Now he's at a club, where financially, year on year, they're doing better and better, and they've shown that they want to back this man. But for what they've done this season, definitely I cannot write off Tottenham. And on top of it, like finishing above us, I cannot write that off. Especially as how things stand, because we can only go on what's real and what's existing now. As things stand, I think they would. By the end of the transfer window, I think we have to revise this conversation 100%. But I did want to answer one more question, because I did see several comments in the chat saying, here it is, closing a gap on Liverpool. Did they win something? No, but I do respect the fact that we finished 18 points behind them in the league. So we've got no right to be looking at Manchester City to be winning any kind of league. Absolutely none. That's where my logic comes from, because I'm being realistic here. I'm not asking for a second place finish next season. What I am asking for is to be 83 points, tops 85 finish. Whether that means finishing second or third, I couldn't care less. It's an improvement for me. I'm looking at baby steps now. I'm not looking at the league this season, potentially even the following season. I'm not looking at it. I'm just looking at the rebuild of this team. That's what I'm looking at right now. But that's the question that I wanted to ask. So, man, you did give your honest opinion on the team, which I appreciate, bruv. And, I do agree with a lot of what you said. I can't lie.
I'm always going to be honest. And look, with Chelsea, this is not just a banter thing. Like, I actually have my reasons, and I look at the situation. I think, me personally, I think City are going to win the league. Liverpool finished second. That I know for a fact. Now, there's something that's happening right now, and you touch on it, that makes me kind of know for a fact as well. I think Spurs are finishing third. I think Conte, in my opinion, is the third best manager in the league. With all due respect to Tuchel, I think he's the third best manager in the league. I think the fact that, and even if you go watch on my channel, I actually gave him manager of the season. The fact that he got those bunch of bums to Champions League football, I have no idea how the hell he did it. People keep talking about Kane and Son. Yeah, Kane and Son is amazing, but have you seen the rest of the team? Dyer, Lloris, the guy who looks like Edge in midfield, I keep forgetting his name, Winks, all of these guys, like, it's just, and I have actually put my face on YouTube and said, they have 15 championship players, and I stick by it. A lot of that squad is just absolute dog shit. Like Bergwijn, all of them, man, like, they're just shit, man. And he actually managed to get them to fourth. So now you're telling me Conte is going to get what he wants? So now I'm fucking worried. Now I'm like, okay, like, shit. Now they've gotten Bissouma, they've gotten Perisic. They've got, I think they're linked. They're going to get Jed Spence. They're going to get either Richarlison or Rafinha. All those signings. Yep. All of those signings make me think, okay, Spurs again finishing third. So now I'm looking at that fourth place, and I'm not going to get ahead of myself with Arsenal because they still have Mikel Arteta, which I don't think is as bad as people make out, and is not as good as people make out. I'm a bit in the middle with Arteta. I'm like, okay, he's all right. But with all the signings that they make, if they go sign Jesus, Rafinha, and the Lisandro Martinez guy from Ajax, now the top four thing becomes even more difficult, because Chelsea have to fix up in this transfer window. And Guni, to be fair, he's been fair about it. He said, look, at the end of the window, we can revisit it. And absolutely, because if Chelsea do go get the people that they want to get, then of course this conversation would be a little bit different. Because if Chelsea go out and sign the players that they need to sign and etc., even though a lot of guys like I can't divide like the Sterling. You mentioned Sterling. Sterling is another like guy who divides the fan base. I went on a space. I've never heard so many different opinions about one player. Certain people are like, oh yeah, he's amazing. Get him. He's a goal scorer. That's what we need. Certain players like, oh, we don't create as many chances as City. Blah blah blah. Like it's just. But you know, we shall see, man. We shall.
But you know what I'll say about Sterling, and this is what I've always said. Yeah, Raheem Sterling as an individual signing. Yeah, keyword signed by himself. For me, is a 5.5, 6 out of 10 for me. Because, and the reason why I give it north of 5 is because regardless of what we want to say, I still think he's better than any winger that we've got in our club.
Yep.
I do think that. It elevates to a 7.5, 8 out of 10 if you got Ousmane Dembele directly on the other side. Why? Because of his ability to create from that wing. And Sterling, we have to respect that. His pace and his movement is A1. One of his disadvantages is that he needs a lot of chances to score, 100%. Do we create chances at the volume at Manchester City? Do some will argue yes. And statistically, it may be correct. But for me, my argument is that, okay, if that's the case, who creates the better quality chances? And for me, all day, it's Manchester City. So that's why, for me, Raheem Sterling, for the price tag that is being touted, it's a good one. But it becomes a better signing if you've got Ousmane Dembele on that other side, feeding him and finding him with those runs, for example. So that's my stance.
They complement each other.
That's what I mean. That's my stance on the Raheem Sterling situation. Now, for me, for Chelsea to have a 10 out of 10 window or close to that, that DM situation has to be solved. It must for me. It must. So that's
I think as well, the midfield is definitely something I agree with you, because for me, once again, it kind of links to the Thiago stuff. Thiago is our best midfielder, but he's injury prone. Same thing with Kovacic. He's injury prone as well. Kovacic is phenomenal. You'll never hear me say negative words about him. Like I actually really love Kovacic, but he's injury prone. Same with Thiago. So you kind of do need someone. You definitely need someone. But if you're and maybe this is something I tell to my own fan base as well. The same way I don't think Jude Bellingham is the be all and end all. I don't think Declan Rice is the be all and end all. I think you could definitely get a DM out there. Now I don't know a specific name or a specific person, but you know, I'm sure that Chelsea have 20 names on that short list. You could go grab someone that improves you. You know what? Even if you go to someone who might be a little bit unpopular, but even if you go to someone like an Ndidi who just breaks down attacks and maybe allow the other two to express themselves a little bit more, maybe switch to a lone DM. That could be a solution. But there's definitely solutions out there in the market if West Ham are too like tough on that price stuff, and they're actually trying to get 120, 130, 140 M's. I think you'd be absolutely crazy to pay that money.
You know, Matt Law and one or two others seem to think that the price that he'll go for will be around 75 M's, but I think that's more 75 M's plus add-ons. Me personally, I think it's going to be closer to the 100 M mark, all to get all in, if anything. And where I'd usually agree with you 9 times out of 10 on top of the price tag, I do, but we found ourselves in a situation where we're desperate. Now, the outside chance that I have heard of is Amadou Diawara. I've heard good things about him. I hear he is still young, but for me to make an actual informed, give an informed opinion, I think I wouldn't be too honest if I was to do that. So I'm going to try and see what this guy is about with the information that I can get. I don't like to solely rely on YouTube. You already know the reasons why for that. A basic player could look like an absolute superstar if you've got the right editing and you take the right clips at the right time. You get me? So I don't want to do it just like that. So with him, I don't really know what to think about that. There's also the situation of Billy Gilmore and Ampadu as well. Ampadu apparently had a decent loan over at Venezia. Billy Gilmore, we know, had a terrible time over at Norwich. But again, I don't think that's down to his ability. I'm going to take that back to the scouting board who thought it was a good idea to sign off and agree and say, yeah, his development is best going to be done over at Norwich. I thought that was an absolute shambles. I think there's still a player in there. And I think we could have used him last season. He definitely would have come in handy. 100%.
I don't understand how the same scouting department can make a fantastic decision with Gallagher to Crystal Palace, but make such a shit decision with Gilmore to Norwich. You already know Gilmore's strength is when he has possession. So even if you sent him on loan to a Leeds, to an Aston Villa, someone like that who actually keep the ball in like 20 games, 22 games in the Premier
Exactly.
League season, then you would actually have seen maybe his qualities. But I think the issue is, and I say this to my own fan base, this is not just Chelsea specific. I think relying on youngsters is an issue for me, because relying on youngster equal inconsistency, equal dropping points in certain games. Will you have the patience for it? Because, by the way, my fan base do the same shit. Harvey Elliott, Fabio Carvalho, etc. Like, with youngsters, you're gonna get inconsistency. Think about this: Phil Foden is the best youngster in the league over the last 2-3 years, and he's played he started 17 games 2 years ago. He started 20 games this season. Even the best youngster in the league is not starting week in, week out. Look at
Exactly.
what happened with Arsenal. Look at what happened to them. Youngsters, no real experience in that team, and they didn't end up winning. And that's the thing. And by the way, big up to Guni, because he didn't pretend that he knows that Diawara guy
Yeah, I
and
don't
act
do
like,
that.
because I'm gonna tell you guys a little bit of insight. See how these many of these YouTube guys who talk football, a lot of them don't actually know the person they're watching, by the way. They just go off compilations. I remember when I was still a teenager watching Usama As-Saidi compilation when we wanted to buy him from Herenveen, and how it's like, who is this absolutely incredible winger? And then we sign him, and I'm like, who the fuck is the shit guy that we signed? So never watch compilations and make your
I
opinion, because
don't.
I promise you, I can make a whole compilation right now making Jota look like Ronaldinho. But anyone who
100%.
watches football will tell you he can't play football, he can only score goals. So
No, it's a fact. No, you see, on this, I'm honest about anything, bruv. Even as sometimes it can be the most basic thing, and I'll be like, yo, people, it's either A, I forgot, or B, I just don't know. Because like I'm not here to pretend like I'm better than anybody or that I know it all. I'm just a human being that likes to talk about football. Some things I know, some things I don't. Some things I even learn from the chat. And a lot
yep.
of things I learn from people like yourselves, Terry, Gunnar. I learn from everybody, bruv. It's a each one teach one mentality. So, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's just me. That's just how I do things, bruv. Grown ass men out here, there's no need to lie and to try and impress anybody. You see what I mean? That's just how I operate.
Good, for a fact you could have sat here and capped. You know for
Yeah,
a
it's
fact.
easy, bro. You see it all the time, bro. You see it all the time. There's certain man that are saying, yeah, Fabio Vieira. This guy, I've been keeping tabs on him for like the past 5 years, bro. I'm telling you, a masterclass, he's gonna come in and do this. And you're like, bro, since
And
when?
they
And
say
then
the
you
most
think,
basic shit
what
as
is
well.
this?
Like, he passes the ball well, he
What is
tackles well,
this?
just
You see how I get them? You see how I get them, the ones that I know that are capping. I'll be like, yeah, what's the teammate that plays next to him? What's his name? William Carvalho. What? They said old school names like, bruv, I'm telling you, man, like some people,
oh Lord.
the ego is a crazy thing, bruv. You get me? The ego is
Vitinha is a fantastic player, man. He passes the ball well. He's able to dictate tempo. He's good with the football, He would add flair to the Liverpool if I just made that shit up. I didn't watch Vitinha a minute in my life. So, it's just
That's what I'm saying. Hey, listen, I'm not even going to limit it down to Arsenal fans. Yeah, you should have seen some of our
everyone.
fan base when we signed Zappa Costa. Yeah, bruv. I'm saying, oh, this Italian guy from Fiorentina, man, he's gonna fly down the wings for us. Yeah, he's gonna be that.
Oh Lord.
It's just like, bro, like, stop it, man. You just say, wait and see. I don't know. We're gonna have to see if this works or not. You get me? It's one of those ones. But yo, Husam, what have you got coming up on your channel, or what have you already got up that you would like the people to see?
This video has actually lifted my mood up a little bit. So big up to you, man. Big up to you, as always. That ending as well. I could feel like Guni immediately felt in his soul what I said, because it's true as well.
Yeah,
like...
man, it burns me, bro. But you see me, I'm sort of like, I just let people get on with what they're doing. Innit? But if I was somebody else, I'd be putting, see you fraud, and yeah, I'm just that, bro. I just let people.
Oh Lord, and it's always the basic stuff as well, man. He passes well. You could say that about Henderson. He passes well. But anyway, I digress. Listen, it's been fun. Big up to you. I'm going live at 10:30 to talk about Mo Salah's contract. Yeah, I'm smiling now. I doubt I'll be smiling an hour from now when it's half an hour into the video. But yeah, that's what I want to talk about. Probably going to talk about Salah's contract. Have a Liverpool fan coming on as well. And look, thanks for having me, man. This has been a fantastic show. Big up to you. Everyone watching right now, please do make sure you slap that like button right now. Subscribe to Man Knows Football as well. Fantastic stuff, incredible stuff on this channel. Make sure you subscribe, like the video. Big ups to everyone, man. Big up to Guni for having me on. It's been fun, man. 1 hour flew by,
Yeah, it
and
did.
yeah, it was
Did.
incredible, man. Big up to you, bro.
And people, like I said at the beginning of the stream, Husam's details are all down there, clickable links, including his YouTube channel. His name's in the description as well. So once you're done with this, make sure you give that a click and engage in the live. You get me, man? Support the brother. We have got to have you on, man. We have to have you on a lot more in this show. I'd love to have you on at least weekly, bruv, if you've got the time to do that. If you don't, I understand, we're grown men, bro. We've got lives that we have to take care of. But either way, you're more than welcome to come on here, and I really appreciate you taking the time to actually come and bless us on this channel, man. But Husam, big up yourself. Everybody that is in the chat as well, man. Thank you very much for joining in. Make sure you do subscribe if you are new. Slap that like button as well. Leave your thoughts down there in the comments if you are visiting after the live. And what I will try to be doing is not just do Chelsea transfer news, because I know the majority of my subscribers are actually Chelsea fans. But I do want to make this a bit more broad, include other teams as well. So you will be seeing Liverpool fans, Manchester City fans. You've already had troops over here with the Arsenal opinion. So we're going to see some more of that. Hopefully, when X comes back from the sunny Dominican Republic, I can sit down and have a chat with him about some of his signings as well. But as for now, people, wherever you are, whatever you're doing,